Ladies and gentlemen, the official program start now. We are going to live. Now I would like to invite all of you to join our Vocational-Technical webinar with our school network from the Philippines and Malaysia. Let's start with SEAMEO color and SEAMEO song together.
Morning, Mr. Saro.
Good morning.
Open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow. Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn and promise technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world. Let's go to make a
Thank you so much, everyone, for your kind reminder. All participants are requested to mute your microphones. Yeah, and for reminder for participants in the Facebook or YouTube, you are attending the. Thank you so much, Vocational-Technical. Everyone, for your kind reminder. All the presentation of all participants are requested to type your question, your microphone, chat box by stating your name, and countries. SEAMEO TED will. For reminder, comment and select some participants in the Facebook or YouTube in an appropriate time. You are attending the. Thank you so much, Technical. Everyone, for your kind reminder and all the presentation of all participants are requested to type your question, your microphone, chat box. The link by stating your name and country description. SEAMEO TED will. For reminder, who are joining with us in the Zoom in the Facebook, please raise your hand. Appropriate time. You are sending the question so much in the chat room. Everyone, for your kind reminder and all the presentation of all participants are requested to type your application form at the end of the webinar in order to link by stating your name and country description. SEAMEO TED will. For reminder, who are joining with us on the Zoom in the Facebook, please raise your hand. Appropriate time. You are sending the question so much in the chat room. Everyone, for your kind reminder and all the presentation of all participants would like to type your application form on the progress webinar in the link by stating your name and the following country description. Vocational-Technical. For reminder, who are joining with us on the Zoom, please raise your hand in the third everyone, for your kind reminder and all the network and would like to type your application form on the webinar the link by stating your name and the following description. Vocational-Technical. Reminder, you are joining the staff on the Zoom, please raise your hand in the third everyone, for your kind reminder and all the network and would like to type your application form on the webinar by stating your name and the following description. Vocational-Technical. Reminder, you are joining the staff on the Zoom, please raise your hand in the third Indonesia, everyone, for Myanmar, Malaysia, and network Thailand, like to type your application form on the webinar. For this network, it will be available for all students who can be vocational integration. This network is we have some please raise your hand in the Indonesia, everyone, for Myanmar, Malaysia, and Thailand, like to type your application. For this network, it will be available and also vocational integration. Network is we have some please raise your hand in the Indonesia, everyone, for Myanmar, and it is our great Thailand, like to type for this network, it will be available and also vocational integration. Network is we have some Indonesia, everyone, for Myanmar, and it is our great Thailand, like to like Higher Education for International Affairs Service, as well as the Office of Student Service, Researcher and Professional Lecturer in Nidi University. Thank you very much, Dr. Ethel, for joining us. The OBS has made significant impact to the development of education and humanity in East Asia region. So, welcome, Dr. Ethel, please.
Dr. Song Hin Ai, the Center Director of SEAMEO TED, directors, teachers, students under the Technical Vocational High School Network. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. It is my pleasure to deliver an opening message at the first Vocational webinar organized by SEAMEO TED, our regional center of excellence in Cambodia. Technical education and vocational training has been identified as one of the SEAMEO 7 priority areas, starting from the Strategic Dialogue of Education Ministers, the first one, which was organized in Vientiane in Laos, PDR, and since then it was adopted as our priority areas. I would like to congratulate SEAMEO TED for successfully organizing this very important schools network. I recall that this proposal was presented during the GBM or Governing Board meeting of SEAMEO TED, and I'm very happy that this is now taking shape. And we're very pleased to learn that at least 68 members of vocational and technical schools have been nominated from Southeast Asian countries to join the network. I wish that in the future there will be more and more technical and vocational institutions who will be joining the SEAMEO TED Technical Vocational Network. In view of promoting vocational and technical education in the region, SEAMEO Secretariat has coordinated the TVET network, which aims to promote collaboration, partnership, and academic mobility among institutions who would like to have international internship program. And approximately 155 TVET institutions located in 5 countries have joined the TVET network, coming from Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. We have mobilized 1,143 students since 2018. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the student exchange program or academic mobility is put on hold. However, we would like to have the virtual mobility in the future. To facilitate and keep the network rolling, SEAMEO Secretariat has launched a number of programs for development, which we call as CTVET for development. The programs such as C-Teacher and CTVET lecture series, this has been launched, and that SEAMEO photo contest, Voice of Youth essay writing contest were participated in by 750 teachers and students of CTVET and SEAMEO school network. This SEAMEO TED webinar is a very timely event to be organized in these very challenging times. We need to have up-to-date online platform opportunities so that teachers and learners can be informed and good practices can be replicated all throughout the region. We hope that everyone will enjoy participating in this special webinar and shared by the GLAN School of Arts and Trades, Philippines, and Keningau Vocational College of Malaysia. Thank you very much for your expertise and your contributions, and we really hope that we will learn a lot in this very special webinar in this morning session. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Esther, for such supportive, motivative speech to SEAMEO TED, and you have shared a lot of progress on the development of education in Southeast Asia. Thank you very much, Dr.
And have a good day.
Next, I would like to invite our thank you very much, Dr. Esther, for such GLAN School of Arts and Trades to speak to SEAMEO TED, and you have shared a lot of Started of OBS on the NDI Integration into education in live streaming with Zoom. Thank you very much, Dr.
And have a good day.
Next, I would like to invite thank you very much, Dr. Esther, for such GLAN School of Arts and Trades to very good role, recent bachelor degree in secondary education, start of OBS and the Integration of education in live streaming with Zoom, Natal, City, Philippines.
And have a good day.
I would like to program by technology. Thank you very much. The brilliant between 2009 School of Arts and Trades to very brilliant. Again, professional experience and teacher a lot of knowledge of them. GLAN and the development of Saran teaching mathematics, Natal, City, Philippines.
And have a good day.
I would like to program by technology. Thank you very much. The brilliant between 2009 School of Arts and Trades very brilliant. Again, professional experience and teacher a lot of knowledge of them. Getting started of OBS, basic of Saran teaching mathematics, Natal, graphic,
And have a good day.
I would like to program by thank you very much. And another of School of Arts and Trades very brilliant. Again, professional experience. Getting started at OBS, basic of Saran technology, mathematics, graphic,
And have a good day.
running like thank you very much. And another of School of Arts and Trades very brilliant. Getting started at Rolando Introduction of graphic,
And have a good day.
running like thank you very much. And another getting started at Rolando Introduction
And have a good day.
running like thank you very much. And another Rolando getting started Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, Excel, Microsoft Word, and Internet. Adobe Creative Suite, computer hardware and software installation, computer troubleshooting and maintenance, local area network installation, maintenance, computer application, video editing, Photoshop application, and electronics. Welcome, Mr. Rolando, as the speaker of this webinar. Mr. Brian and Mr. Rolando, The floor is yours, please. Everyone, can you hear me? Rolando, Mr. Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you can start your presentation now. The floor is yours. Too much noise. Too much noise. Bật một tiếng.
Nào, đó. Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. We
Oh,
can.
very clearly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm Brian Baricuatro. I'm teacher one from GLAN School of Arts and Trades, and now I'm present how to getting started the OBS and the OBS to other platform. Okay, OBS is the Open Broadcaster software. It's a free and open source cross-platform streaming and recording program built with Qt and maintained by the OBS project. The author of this is Eugene Bailey. So our objective for today is download the OBS, use the basic controls of the OBS, use OBS to other platforms. So step one, so download the OBS project, OBS to obsproject.com. So at what you see on my screen is that is the OBS Studio. So you can choose your one. If using Windows, you can download by the Windows. If you are using MacOS or Linux, you can use that because this OBS Studio is free and it is time to time it is updating. So next is install, and after installing the OBS, this is what you look like in your screen. That is the OBS Studio. So there are different control of the basic control of the OBS. This is the profile, so you can write your name there, the profile. In the scenes, you can add scenes, scene 1, scene 2, scene 3. In every scene, you can put any presentation. In every scene, you can add also sources, what you want to add your scene, and the audio mixer and the controls of the OBS. So example, if you want your face appear on the screen, just go to the sources and click the plus sign and click the video capture device. After clicking the plus sign, then this is how your screen look like. Then click the video capture device. And after clicking the video capture device, this is how your screen look like. Then click OK, and your face will appear to your screen, look like this. So if your screen look like this, so you are done successfully our example. So next is how to put an audio in our presentation. First is in the sources. Click the audio input capture, click the plus sign, then click the audio input capture. Then this is how your screen like. Then click OK, and then click OK. So if you notice the color of the audio mixer is moving, so you do it correctly. So next is the control of the OBS. If you want to record your presentation, etc., we can also put hotkeys, so you can start recording by pressing the assigned letter you want. So in the controls, click the settings. Then after clicking the settings, so this is how your screen look like. Then click the hotkeys. Then put desired letter on your start recording and stop recording. So if you want any letter, so you can remember always, so you can put any letters there. So in my OBS, I put S when I want to record my presentation, then X on if I want to stop recording. Then click OK. So you are now correctly done, for example. So then OBS to other platforms. So example, if you want to integrate your OBS to Google Meet, to StreamYard, to Zoom. So first is on the OBS to Google Meet. So click the available browser on your PC, then type Google Meet. Then after clicking the Google Meet, click new meeting. Then click the start an instant meeting. Then this is how your screen like. You are now in the Google Meet. So next is OBS to StreamYard. So just like the Google Meet, click the available browser, then type StreamYard, then click the create broadcast, then supply the other details of the broadcast, then click the create broadcast. Now we are in StreamYard. So next is OBS to Zoom. So click the available browser, then type Zoom. Then if you want to host a meeting, click the host a meeting, or you want to join a meeting, join the meeting. Then click the launch meeting or click the Zoom meeting. Then we are now in Zoom. So that is my presentation. Congratulations. You've done great. Terima kasih. Thank you. Stop sharing. Ini gunung musik.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brian, for your good presentation. And it's very helpful for IT teacher and student. And I think because of the time, it's hard to share this fully. And if any participant has question, please let Mr. Brian here. He will answer you. Anyone, you have any question, please? A suggestion from the Masna, Pa Masna. Can the slide be shared? Yeah, we will share. Okay, if there's no question, let's move to the next speaker from the GLAN School of Art and Trade, Philippines, Mr. Rolando. Mr. Rolando, are you with me?
Yes, sir. Here, loud and clear, sir.
Mr. Rolando.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, for your kind information, those who cannot log in the Zoom, you can join the webinar in the YouTube or Facebook Live. Then you can join with us. Mr. Rolando.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. You can share your screen, please.
Okay, sir. Sige, ito ba yung PowerPoint? Screen.
Sorry for technical problem. Maybe the next webinar will be improved technically. Our IT team will try our best to solve the problem. Sorry, very sorry for this technical problem. We will have the better solution in the future. Maybe there is some problem with internet connection also. Mr. Rolando, we cannot hear you.
Sir, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Nơi ta khang Malaysia tôn châu bảo đó Harimu. Mr. Rolando, we cannot hear you.
Good morning, everyone. Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Still not strong.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Rolando El Sabroso, presenting from GLAN School of Arts and Trades. I'm teacher 2. And in this part, so we will learn first the how to create a basic graphic designing using Adobe Photoshop. But first, I'd like to introduce to you the short introduction of why we create a graphic and designing in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so basic graphic design using Adobe Photoshop CE6. So our objectives, so first, demonstrate the software installation basics tools and in Photoshop environment. The second, perform the basic procedures in making graphic design using as get to know layers. Graphic design such as get to know layers combine images using layers, layer mask, and text, and effects and include vectors graphics. We have the introduction. So the teacher becomes an integral part of the exploration, planning, and implementation of this advancement in order to carry out and this leadership rules. So it is necessary for the teacher to be knowledgeable about current and emerging technologies. So we are the significance the creating a graphic design. So because graphic design can refer to a number of artistic and professional disciplines with its focus on visual communications and presentations. So various methods are used to create a combined symbols, images, and our words to create a visual representation of ideas and messages. And colors, layouts can convey moods, create images, attract attention, and identify objects using great visual in the presentation help you catch your audience attentions. So there are the requirements of Adobe Photoshop C6 or CC. So the very important requirements when you installing the Adobe Photoshop software, first we need to know the basic requirements. So first we have the operating system, Windows 10 or latest version. We have a memory RAM capacity minimum of 4 gig or higher. We have the hard disk space or 3 gig free space required. We have the processor. So processor 2 gigahertz or faster processor or the high-end processor. We have the graphics or the display of our requirements. We have the 1024 or 768 or the 1080 or 1280 to times 800 recommended the recommended display of your computer. We have the minimum 16-bit color. We have the Adobe Photoshop C6 or the CC technical setup details. So we have this full name, no? Super full name, we have the Adobe Photoshop CC or 2020, or the latest version of Adobe Photoshop to create design or graphic design. So we have the full name, full setup size, 1.8 gig capacity. So setup type, offline installer, or full standalone setup. So compatibility architecture, the 64-bit 64-bit operating system. So the latest version released or added from 31st of August 2020. We have the latest version of Adobe Photoshop C6CC. Okay, the introduction of Adobe Photoshop. Okay, Adobe Photoshop C6 is a powerful graphic editing. So as we all know, the most reliable editing software or the editing graphic design is the Adobe Photoshop. So powerful graphic editing programs that allow you to create and manipulate images for print, the web, and other media. So Photoshop is almost limitless in the ability to manipulate and edit images, but don't let that scare you. So we have created this guide to help you learn and take advantage of the many features of this program. So keep in mind that this guide introduces the basics. So many of the tools need to be explored to see all of their capabilities. So as also look for the additional resources. So each page for additional guides and videos to help you learn its topic. So we have these software installation guides. So first, step 1, okay, you have to download the software. At we have the chosen website for the installer, the full installer of Adobe Photoshop. So you can download or you can browse in the internet the get into pc.com, or so there are a lot of software or available software that you can to download. Then open the image file and the extracting file if you have to install. So then open the folder and run the setup file. Okay, we have the downloaded already the files of Adobe Photoshop CS6. This type of Adobe Photoshop CS6 is the extended CS6. So we have the folder. So I already extracted the files. We have the Adobe Photoshop CS6 and the WinRAR files. So the next ones, you want, after open the folder of Adobe Photoshop, so you can select the software folder. So to install the Adobe. So next, so after open it the folder, you can select the setup application and click open or run as administrator. So after run or after clicking the open file, so the Adobe installer will initializing, and then the dialog box appear. So we have the three option there. So we have the select the trial option, and after that we're going to activate the software application. The next, select the trial, and so the license dialog box appear, and we need to agree because we're going to install the applications. So next, so after agree, the next dialog box will appear for the install button. Install button will appear, and then please take note the all checkbox there is already checked. Then click install. So after the clicking the button, so you can wait until 100% to complete the installation progress. So after assuming we are complete the installation, well, installation complete, so need to close the software, the dialog box. Okay, so after we are already installed the applications. So we have already the software application or the Adobe Photoshop CE6. Okay, so we need to know that there are informations, no, the basic, there are basic, no, so how to create a new image or navigating palettes, learning the parts of the layer. We have the parts, we have the intro, open to create, palettes, layer, and then transform, type, tone, color, selection guides, and aligner. So later we'll introduce that one, how to use that the basic tools in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, we have the types. We introduced to the types of edits. So the type of edits, there are two types: the destructive versus non-destructive editing. So there are millions of edits you can make in Photoshop, but know that all edits can be divided into the two categories. So there are destructive or the non-destructive. So the first is the destructive edits. So these edits alter or change the image before information. So a destructive edit directly manipulates the image pixels. So therefore cannot, or it's a very difficult to be reversed. Okay, another types is the non-destructive. So the non-destructive edits that do not directly affect the image. So pixels until the image layers are flattened. So by saving as flattened or image format or flattening layers. So one can make alteration or use the non-destructive tools. So without losing any image, so quality or the informations. So we recommended to you the avoiding destructive edits. So whenever or the non-destructive methods is available. So below are the some tips for common destructive edits. So the first, we have the healing tools. So healing tools, so the mini healing tools are destructive, so we recommend making a duplicate or a copy of the layer. So there are the example of the image, the left side of our presentation. So the next one is the filters. So filters are also destructive unless you can change your layer to a smart layer first, or the right click on the layer name or the select convert smart object. Okay, so the next one is open image. So in Photoshop. Okay, in Photoshop, so to open image, to open Photoshop or the document or image, so go to file and select open to open. So a browse window will appear and you can locate your file, select it and click open. So there are tips, no, to reopen or recently open file select. So open recent to select from a list of recently opened files. Next, create. So to create image in Photoshop, so we need to know to create a new document, to go to file and select new, or use the guide below to set your desired document size. There are guides. So we have the size or the guides. Okay, there are the new document dialog box. It's either one you like, the size, no, the size will appear, or you can create the custom size of your image. Okay, so the size, so you have the option there. We are the inches, centimeter, millimeters, points, picas, or columns. So if there are width and height. So width and height. So this is the where you can type in your desired document. So with a height, note that you can change the units by clicking drop downs or beside the width of height values. Then resolution is what determines the quality of an image. Okay. Then the color mode. So color mode allows you to choose what mode and bit you wish to use for new. Okay, we have the bitmap, the grayscale, the SEAMEO color, and the love color. So sa SEAMEO color refers to print colors and is generally used for images that will printed. Okay, pag we're going to print an individual color will print to the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So we're going to set the mood of uh, CMYK mode. So the background contents, okay. The default, the background contents, it's either the background color, transparent, or white. So this allow you to determine the color of your background layer, choosing white or transparent. So we'll make your layer respectively white or it's transparent. So choosing background color, will you change the layer color to whatever is currently selected as the background color in the color palette. So we have the introduction of the color palette. We have the color palette example in the picture, the right side of our presentation. So Photoshop contains over 2 dozens of palettes. So that can be shown or the hidden by the using window menu or selecting the palette you wish to reveal. So there are the example of uh, palette colors. Okay, so the next is the tools and option palettes. So we have the tools. So as you may have guess is the palettes that houses all of Photoshop wonderful tools. Use the following direction to learn how to select tools from the tools of palette. We have the example of the picture of the toolbox, no, the tools palette. There are toolbox. So we have the many kinds of tools, available tools you're going to use in editing Photoshop. Okay, we have the option palettes. Okay, as we noticed, so the option palette is located uh, the above of our window part. above part of the Photoshop windows. So the option palette is located at the very top of your Photoshop window, just below your menu. It's conveniently located so that you can quickly and easily adjust your tool or properties as you see them. So we have the layers and adjustment palettes. So the layers and adjustment palettes is the home of all your layer informations. So where it can be stored and organized. So it lists all layers in an image. So the thumbnail of the layer contents appear to the left of the layer. So you use the layer palette to create a hide, display, or copy, merge, and delete layers. So we have the adjustment palettes. Is where you would select adjustment that you wish to apply to layers. So this palette includes the many different adjustments, including exposures, color, balance, saturation, and brightness, and so on and so forth. Okay, we have the color palette. So the color palette is where you can select a change for your foreground or the background colors. As you want to change the color, or you want to put a color in the image or the type of elements, so you can click in the color palettes. Okay, the foreground color. Okay, the foreground color, to change the color, to select or either the foreground or background, the color box. So the color box and the color palette, by clicking on it, we have to click the color in the box. To select a color, you can, to pick a color, you can click the area. So the area of the color inside the box. So we have the layers. So we need to know first what are layers. So layers are one of Photoshop most powerful features. So as they are individual slices of information, so that can be stacked or moved to create your image composition. With the layers, you can draw or edit, paste, and reposition of elements on one layer without disturbing the others. So as we notice the image, we have the layers, So this graphic showed the layers would be stacked to create a composite. So composite layers contains both transparent and opaque elements. So keep this in mind when stacking, looking at this example. So as we notice that the top of the layer that contains text saying Photoshop till you drop. So only the text in that layer is opaque and the rest of the layer is transparent. So that information below it, the person, cursor, and background color are still seen. So in Photoshop, transparency is identified by white or the gray checkered pattern. So we are getting started to the layer. So first, what we're going to do is first we launch our Adobe applications. So to launch the Photoshop, first just locate the Adobe Photoshop installation. Since I already installed my application, so we need to open my application to launch our software. So first, okay, I already launched my Photoshop installer application. Okay, first we need to start from the very beginning of the application. Okay, I close this application first. Okay, so first locate our installer. Okay, since the Photoshop is located at start menu or the start bar, so I click in the start bar. Okay, just wait in a minute for launching the applications. Okay, so as we notice, the application is already launched. So in this part, so first we create a design Photoshop using layers. So using layers, so combining images and adding texting graphic series, no? Then after this presentation, you will know how to create the basic composite uh, graphics for using your own print or your own online project. Okay, first create a, a new for creating a new file. Just click create, and to open the existing images, click open it. So first, we have already an image, no, example to create our basic uh, graphics designing. So first, just click open. Okay, and then locate the file. Okay, locate the image file. Okay. So for me, I use my image file, the landscape image. We have the landscape image. Select the landscape image and click open. Okay, we have already launched the uh, image in the Adobe Photoshop. So uh, there are the tools. Now we have the tools. So the tools. Okay. Okay, we have the uh, tools, the basic part of the Adobe Photoshop. So we need to notice, as we need to familiar the toolbox. We have the panels and the layer panels. We have okay, to create. Okay, to create. Okay, for me, are going to add an elements of the image. So we have the layer. We have the layer one. Okay, the layer one, there is the background layer. It is the background layer. Okay, I want to add an elements of my design. So what elements? What elements? Okay, I'm going to put element sun in my image. So first, okay, first click the layer panel. So to create a new layer, we need to click the layer panel. Okay, click to create a new layer. Okay, and then the new layer will add the top of our background layer. Okay, first just double click the new layer and name it sun. Okay, name it sun. Okay, after after typing the sun, go to the toolbox. We have the toolbox and select, go to the elliptical marquee tool. Select, right click the rectangular marquee tool and select the elliptical marquee tool. Okay. After selected, just hold your shift key in your keyboard and drag the marquee tool in the space. So okay, so we have the selected area. So first, we need to select the sun layer. Okay, as we notice, the sun layer is highlighted, is already selected. So go to edit and select fill to color our elements. Okay, then select the color, the contents is the color, and then pick a color you want in the color palette. Then click OK after selected. Okay. Okay. The color, the element is already putting a color. Then to deselect the marquee tool, Control D or go to select. Then select deselect. Okay, we have the elements of our background images. Okay, we have an elements. So the element is the sun. Okay, the next is the combining images in the layers. So as we know the layers, so the sun layer and the background layer. So the next one is we're going to put another image on my design. Okay. So just go to the file, then click open. Locate the file. Then select the sky. Because we're going to add the sky image on my background image. Okay, select the sky. Okay. So as we notice, we are just a separate layer. So to put the image, the sky images to my design, okay, just right click. Okay, just right click the background of the sky image and first duplicate the layer to drag the sky image to the another image. To double click, right click, then click duplicate layer. Then background copy. Okay. Okay, the sky layer is already duplicated. So please select the background copy layer and drag into the my landscape image. So to drag, hold your mouse and drag, then release the mouse. Okay. So the sky image is already dragged in my design. Okay. As we notice, we have layers. The sun, another background copy, which is the sky layer. Okay. So we're going to rename it into the sky. So to rename, just double click the background copy layer and then rename it sky. Then, okay. So then, as we notice, the sky images is tapped on the background image or on the background layer. So we're going to change the sky layer in the background image in my new sky images. Next, so just put the sky layer into the below the background layer. Okay. Just drag the background. So to drag, so just drag the lacquer to the trash can. Okay. Then the background layer is changed into layer 0. First, double click the layer 0 and rename it background. Then drag the background to the center of the sky and sun layer. Okay. As we notice, the sky layer is hiding the background layer. Then the next one is we're going to use the layer masking. Okay. Layer masking. So first, select the background layer. Then go to the quick selection tool. Okay. Quick selection tool and after select the quick selection tool, we need to adjust the size or adjust in the screen. We have the size spacing or 200 sizes. Okay. So just drag in the area of the uh, the the background images or the landscape image. Okay. So as we notice, the quick selection is selected the area of the landscape. Then to use layer masking, just click in the layer panel below. Layer panel below, then add layer mask. Okay. Click add layer mask, click add. Okay. As we notice, the the, the default sky image will change into the sky, the last layer in the image. So we have the image is changed into the new sky background. Okay. So the next one, we're going to add a mask in the sun layer. To select the sun layer, just click in the sun layer. Click or right click in the sun layer in the image. Right click or the select a sun. Okay. Then add a layer mask in the sun layer. To add a layer mask, so select the sun layer and click add layer mask. Okay. Since we have already added mask in the sun layer. Next, we're going to develop the sun layer there in the clouds. So first, go to the brush tool. Brush tool. Okay. Then select brush, or then the size, you can drag the size. What you want size you decided to choose. Just okay. And then brush tool. Okay. So I'm going to hide the sun in the clouds. So to hide, just drag, okay, the brush tool. So 100%. Just drag okay. Or you can use brush. So different kinds of tools. Okay, so the sun layer there is the hiding at the clouds. So as we notice, okay. Okay, the last one, we're going to put an text in our background. How to put the text? So go to the toolbox and click T icon or the horizontal type tool in our toolbox. So just click 30T, then click the area. Okay. So as we notice, the cursor we're blinking in the area. So to adjust the size or the font size, select the font size, or you can select either what you want size you like. So just color of the text, you can select white color, or you can select in the palette box, or you can use a color picker in the area. Okay. Then okay, after selecting, then type. Like for example, I can type the, or then to change the font style, you choose in the font style menu and select the font style you want. Okay. To transform the email, that text, you can transform it by controlling, pressing your control, pressing the control T to transform the layer. Okay, control T of your keyboard. And then drag to adjust or to enlarge the text. Okay. To copy the text or to duplicate the text, just right click in the layer panel and duplicate layer. Then click a copy or okay. Then drag it into drag below the sun. So you can type either what you want. So to type, click again the T text in the toolbox at T tools and click it in the text. Then rename it. Sige, SEAMEO din na. Technical. Okay, so I already put that. So layers, masking, put the text in the images. So these are the basic editing, the editing tools and making our own images in our own graphic design in order to develop our learning materials. So to create our own images, no, our own design. So thank you for participating us. So that's all my presentation. So thank you and God bless everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rolando, for your clear presentation. It's practical, and I think it's applicable for IT teacher who want to practice more on Photoshop. You have shared a lot about graphic design, about Photoshop, destructive and non-destructive kinds of echo and other feature of the Photoshop. If there's any question from the floor from participant, please kindly let us know. Everyone, do you have any question, please? Is there any question, please? Thank you very much, Mr. Brian and Mr. Rolando, and especially my special thanks to the school principal, director of the GLAN School of Red and Art and Trade from the Philippines, who kindly share with the network about the ICT knowledge, and you have strong commitment and very good contribution to the network by allowing Mr. Brian and Mr. Rolando to share with the network with the other teacher and student in Southeast Asia. I think this good sharing will be useful for the other teacher and student to learn more and more, and is the first webinar that we can hear from our school network member, and it is our great pleasure to be presented by speaker from the Philippines, Mr. Rolando and Mr. Brian. Congratulations, and I think if there's no question, we will move to the next speaker, the speaker from Malaysia, from our friend Dr. presented by speaker from the Philippines, Mr.
Everyone,
Roland,
can you hear me?
and Mr. Brian. Congratulations. And I see if
Everyone,
there's no question, we will move to the next speaker.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
Speaker
everyone. God
from
bless.
Malaysia, from our friend. Next, our presenter is from Malaysia by Dr. Speaker from the Philippines. Mr.
everyone,
Roland,
can you hear me?
and Mr. Brian. Congratulations. And I see students. If there's no question on the topic, to the next speaker.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
Speaker
everyone. God
from
bless.
Energizing TVET community with strategy. Next, our presenter innovation is from Malaysia by Dr. from Keningau, Vocational-Technical.
Everyone, can you hear me?
Congratulations. And I see currently students. If there's no question on the topic, at the next
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
vocational college.
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
Energizing TVET community with strategy. Next, our presenter innovation in local and it is from Malaysia by from Keningau, Vocational-Technical.
Everyone, can you hear me?
Congratulations. There's no question on the topic side as STEM and language.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Also,
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
energizing specialty. Next, our presenter innovation is from Malaysia. Welcome to the Philippines.
Everyone, can you hear me?
There's no question on the topic side as STEM and language.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Also,
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
energizing next, our presenter innovation Malaysia is from
He was the first Southeast Asian
welcome to the Philippines.
Everyone, can you hear me?
And she was also there's no question on the topic side as STEM and language.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Organizers
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
energizing next, our presenter innovation Malaysia is
He was the first Southeast Asian
welcome to the Philippines.
Everyone, can you hear me?
And she was also there's no question on the topic side as STEM and language.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Organizers
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
energizing next, our presenter innovation Malaysia is
He was the first Southeast Asian
welcome to the Philippines.
Everyone, can you hear me?
And she was also there's no question on the topic side as STEM and language.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Organizers
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
energizing next, our presenter innovation Malaysia is
He was the first Southeast Asian
welcome to the Philippines.
Everyone, can you hear me?
And she was also there's no question on the topic side as STEM and language.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Organizers
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
energizing next, our presenter innovation Malaysia is
He was the
Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello?
Sure, we hear you.
Okay, so I'm going to start now. I hope it's going to be fine. First of all, I would like to thank SEAMEO TED for organizing such a great initiative of doing this webinar among schools, TVET schools and institutions in Southeast Asia. So thank you so much. And thank you to the Secretariat of SEAMEO as well for being very supportive of this initiative. I'm Suhajan Erik. I'm here representing Malaysia. I'm from Keningau Vocational College. With me, there are two of my students. So I'm going to just start sharing the screen now. Okay. Blam, share sound? No need. Optimize for video clip? No need. It's okay. I just want to check whether So can you guys see the screen right now? Let me see first. Okay, it's just a delay. Nice for video clip. There's a delay in YouTube. So are you guys looking at my slideshow? But first of all, I will just like stop the video. Then can you?
Okay, Dr. Shuhan, you can start now.
Okay. Can you guys see the slideshow? Okay. So the title is what we're going to focus in. I would like to focus on innovation and research, because we know for TVET institutions, it's in our blood. So when it comes to innovation and research, we focus, what are we really talking about? We are talking about ideas or projects, because our teachers and our students, they have excellent ideas, they have these amazing skills, and they can do a lot of projects. And I know for vocational schools, usually in Malaysia, the students, they have to come up with final year project. So what I'm showing you right now is that there are 3 platforms where the students are able to, or teachers for that matter, are able to showcase and develop their ideas. So when we talk about ideas, it can be product, something that you can touch, something that you can see, as any product. It can be also a service, and it can be also a program. So there are 3 platforms. Those are research conference, innovation contest, and entrepreneurship programs. Now, in Malaysia, most of our students and even teachers, they take part actively in innovation contests whenever they have ideas. But the thing about it is that other than it's good. It's amazing to be in innovation contests. And I know in Southeast Asia, there are lots of countries that organize international innovation contests, previously physical contests and now virtual contests. But we can also get our students to join, to present their work at conferences. And we can also encourage our students and teachers to go for entrepreneurship program. Now, the thing about entrepreneurship program, usually it involves business grant pitching. That means you pitch your ideas, and if people like it, you might get grant or amount of money to expand the project. Now, what we usually do in the schools is to encourage the students to present their ideas through these 3 platforms: research conference, innovation contest, and entrepreneurship competitions. Now, when it comes to conference, it doesn't have to be research conference. It can be like for education conference, best practice conference. So before the pandemic, we used to travel to other countries. That was before the pandemic. We went to Australia and Japan. But most importantly, there are lots of events that we took part in Southeast Asia, because Southeast Asia is the best. But now we are moving into a new world. That means in Malaysia, we usually use the terms new normal. Like what we are doing now, we are doing things virtually. So I'm going to talk more about platforms that are on the internet, virtual events and online platforms. And I'm going to talk a little bit about grant application too, because I know it's something that is not done virtually, but it can be done remotely. So when we, with our students, we encourage them to present their papers at conferences and publish their papers too. I know that usually for vocational students, they always have these ideas. And sometimes in Malaysia, there's this perception that vocational students, they are just not meant for certain things that might be too academic. But I believe that there's no such things. Like vocational students are capable of doing anything that any other students in mainstream schools can do. In fact, I think vocational students and vocational schools and vocational teachers, they have more alternatives and platforms where they can actually really show people what they are capable of. So I always encourage my students, you have all these projects, to present them at conferences, show them your findings, your discoveries, your ideas. so in order to break the stereotypes that people have on vocational educations and vocational students. So I think, I'm not sure in other countries, but in Malaysia, we are still dealing with this kind of perspective that, vocational students, they are just not meant for certain things, or they are just not good enough in certain things. So we don't want that kind of perception. So we did this, and all of these conferences are done online. And usually what I like to do, I always put my students on the newspapers. And then we went for a conference in Indonesia, SEAMEO conference. Now, I would like to praise Indonesia. They organize a lot of conferences. Their conferences are very well organized. And most of the time, they are free of charge, or they have fees, but they're very low. And kudos to them, because most of the time, many conferences are way too expensive. That's why whenever there's an Indonesian conference, we always go for it. Like for this one, it was a free of charge conference last year. And then we sent almost 30 students, and we had these 10 projects presented at the conference. And we formed the largest delegation. As you can see here, we were taking a Zoom photo of the school contingent or delegates. So what we're trying to do is to turn the idea of students, TVET students, vocational students, or technical students presenting at conferences as a practice, as a new normal, as a practice across vocational schools in Malaysia. And of course, since we are doing this at Southeast Asian level, so why not the whole Southeast Asia? Other than that, I'm going to talk about GLAN application too. Now, most of the time, I think in Malaysia, people are not really aware that there are when you have ideas, whenever you have projects, it doesn't matter whether they are teachers' projects or students' projects, there are lots of GLAN opportunities where you can actually get amount of money to expand to develop your projects at schools or anywhere else. So there are certain GLAN opportunities that we have won from the United States. Usually YSEALI, if you are familiar with YSEALI, that's meant for Southeast Asian. And also, if you look at one of the newspaper clips that I put here, there's a SEAMEO grant too. Now, this SEAMEO, again, this SEAMEO grant, it's given by Indonesia. And again, I would like to congratulate the Indonesians, because the Indonesian SEAMEOs, they are very generous. They are giving away lots of grants. And as we speak, there are two GLAN opportunities available right now from SEAMEO from Indonesian SEAMEO, and one is for science teacher and the other one is for language teachers. And also I'd like to talk about Hackathon. Now, Hackathon is an innovation contest, but unlike most innovation contests where you present your product and then you get evaluated, Hackathon is something that takes time. It takes place in a week or in a few days. You have to go for courses, mentoring, and then you pitch your project. And teachers, if students can do it, definitely teachers can do it too. So what I'm focusing here, what I really would like to emphasize is that our teachers and our students, they can present their projects at these three platforms, like research. I mean, whenever they have an idea, it can be a research, it can be an innovation, it can be entrepreneurship. Now, these three, they are related, but they are not exactly the same. Research is more on you finding an answer to something. And the focus here is usually on literature review and methodology. And for vocational students, they do that too. When they do project, they are looking for an answer, and they sometimes, obviously, they need to collect data and they need to look at previous studies. So that's literature review and methodology. Now, innovation is when you are trying to solve an identified problem. There's a problem and you try to solve it. And the focus is on impact and potential of your solution. Now, when you look at innovation and research, now innovation is where we are trying to solve a problem, while research, we are not really trying to solve a problem. We are looking for an answer to a question. But when we do innovation, we also need to do research, because in order to test our solution or our idea or our project, we need to collect data and analyze these data. So that's research. So as you can see, they are related, but they are not exactly the same. Okay, but sometimes when you do research, it is just a research. You are just looking answers to questions. You are not really trying to solve a problem. And I know that vocational students, they do that too. Now, when you do research or innovation or both, so people will wonder, what's next? And what I would say the next one is to commercialize the solution, whether it's an innovation or research. It's about finding ways how you can market and commercialize your project so that people can use it, and obviously you can make money out of it. Now, I know for most of us here, we are teachers, so we don't really, we are not really looking for jobs. We might, we get paid every month. But for our students, when we train them in, at our schools, we have to instill entrepreneurial, we have to help them develop their skills in entrepreneurship. So they need to be able, whenever they have an idea, at the end of the day, they need to be able to figure out how they're going to commercialize the solution. So that's why entrepreneurship is very related to innovation and research. And unlike innovation and research, entrepreneurship, they don't focus on literature review. They don't focus on the impact of your solution, because obviously your solution should already have impact or potential, but they focus on business strategies and market. So these are a few highlights that I'm going to talk about, but I don't really have much time, so I'm going to go really quick. So when it comes to ideas, when we want to develop something, whether it's a research or innovation, the thing that we need to focus on is problem statement. Now, when you want to come up with something, you need to ask yourself, and you need to figure out what is the problem that you are trying to solve. So whenever you think about the plot, because I know in Malaysia, what happens sometimes is that people come up with ideas and they're like wondering what are the problems that they are trying to solve. And the process appears to be reversed. You already have a project well developed, but then there's no problem to solve. And then you are trying to figure out or trying to search for the problem that project should be solving. So it's supposed to be the other way around, right? You need to identify a problem first, and then you try to come up with a solution. So whenever you come up with a solution, your solution has to be specific and clear. You need to think about what is happening, what is the problem here, and who are the people that are involved. Or if they are not humans, maybe they are animals or machines, what are affected, and then what are affected, and what are the effects of these problems. So you have this problem, it looks like a minor problem, but there are long-term effects or consequences out of that problem, and we don't want that to happen. So that's it about the problem statement. So when you look at this student of mine, he developed a furniture which he claimed to be able to help senior citizens. Senior citizens or people with limited mobility. That means senior citizens or people with limited mobility or people who are disabled, they cannot really move well. So he was hoping that his project can help them, can help these target groups. Now, I lauded him for because he was able to specify his target group. What happened here was that he came up with a project, and then he was like trying to figure out what problem that he was trying to solve. So I will say that problem statement, although he was able to come up with it, it's not actually a good problem statement, since you are supposed to be, and that's what happens when you come up with an idea or a project of something, and then you try to figure out what you're trying to solve. So this is done by students from automotive technology. So he felt that as an auto mechanic, or as a student of automotive technology, he found it very uncomfortable to actually use the clipper pad or the makeshift pad that they use at the workshops. So he came up with something that could help car mechanics, or at least could help him and other students at the school. So if you look at the problem statement here, he was able to explain the problem. There's the clipper pad that they had at the workshop. It didn't really support the people's body structure. So there's a problem there, and there are people, he was able to specify the target group. It's the car mechanics, people who work at car workshops. And then he was also able to explain the effects of the problem. If people cannot really assume comfortable posture or the right posture when they are repairing a car, they will suffer muscle pain and fatigue afterwards. So as you can see in my what I highlighted before, you need to explain what, who, and then what happened if the problem is not solved. So the next thing that you need to focus on is that, okay, you already have a problem statement. You also need to be able to think about your target group. You have this amazing idea and you already know the problem that you would like to solve, but you really need to figure out the details of the target group. So who are the people that you're trying to help, or in this case, what if they are not humans? And then you have to narrow your subject with details, demographic. Let's say I'm in Malaysia, so I come up with an idea. I can't say that I'm trying to solve a problem in China or in Europe when I'm in Malaysia, right? It's not specific enough. The demography just doesn't fit in. So I can say Malaysia, but still Malaysia is too large. It's one large nation, and I'm based in just one state, which is far from the rest of the states in the country. So it's too huge. So just narrow it down to district that you are in. We are Keningau Vocational College. We are in Keningau. So whenever we want to come up with an idea, it's better to focus on the district Keningau, or maybe slightly larger, but not to the extent of the whole nation. Okay, so you need to be able to narrow your subject, and also you need to be able to explain why you pick this kind of these people, this target group. Now, what happens most of the time is that people have a very general target group. That means when you ask them your ideas, you're trying to solve a problem, who is your target group? And people will say, everybody, my target group is everybody. So the answer, everybody, is just not practical enough, because obviously, when you talk about everybody, you talk about pretty much everybody, like babies. Like babies are usually not relevant to most of the things that we do. Or maybe you have too many target groups. Who are your target groups? Senior citizens, and then children, and then teenagers, and then school students, and then people who work at the office. There are too many target groups. So it's not really practical in a way that you are not able to really specify your solution to a very detailed target group. So let's say this student of ours from cosmetology. Cosmetology, it's all about beauty. So they came up with this cream. So these girls in my state, they just love to come up with beauty cream. Okay, so the beauty cream that they come up with is for the skin. As you can see here, the target group, they were able to specify the target group. Their target group is women, so it's not men. Men are not there in their target group. Women, but which women? There are lots of women. Women who work in the market, women who are at home, women who are work at the office, women who are working at schools. So they say that women who work in professional setting, so within office hours. So they are able to specify that. So that's good. It's very important for you to be able to specify your target group. So this is like a screenshot of a slideshow of a video that they did for virtual innovation contest. And the next one is that these students of ours from baking and pastry, so they came up with a tea. They said this tea can help women who suffer post-birth bleeding. So they were able to specify their target group. They were women. Which women? Women who have just given birth, because the problem that they were trying to solve is the post-birth bleeding, postpartum bleeding. So basically, new mothers, women who have just given birth, not just any women, not female, not teen women, not kids, not girls, not little girls, not senior citizens, but women who have just given birth, new mothers, and women who live in the rural areas. But why women who live in the rural areas? Because according to them, or from what we have discussed, women in rural areas, they live far from the hospitals. So when they are ill or when they need to get medical help, it's very hard for them because it's very far. Most of the time, they do not go to hospital. They choose not to go to the hospital because it's too far. So that's why they specified the target group to women who have just given birth in the rural areas in Keningau. Okay, so when it comes to target group, remember to make it specific. Now, you already have your problem, you have your target group, the problem that you're trying to solve, the target group, the people that you're trying to help. So now it's time for you to come up with a solution, your ideas. So when you want to come up with a solution, you might have lots of ideas, but you need to be able to look at several factors. First, understanding how well you understand this kind of field of interest, this area, this problem. Is it relevant to you? Is it something that you have read a lot on internet or academic articles, research articles, or all sort of sources? Or maybe it's something that is based on your personal experience. And then you need to think about skills. For vocational students, I'm sure they have lots of skills. You know, baking, culinary art students can cook very well, know a lot about food. Automotive technology students are engineers in the making. So it's skills that you have, that you actually possess, or maybe you don't have the skills, but you know people who have that skills, and you can actually collaborate with these people or access their skills in any way. So let's say a culinary art student wants to do something related to technology, and he or she doesn't know much about it, but he or she can work with somebody who is specialized in electronic technology, who knows a lot about this thing. So they can work together. So it's skills that you have or skills that you might not have, but you know people who have it, and you can actually work with them. And then resources. So you need to think about resources. So you have all these ideas, but do you have the resources? So I know for vocational students, we have workshops, but I think at least in Malaysia, we don't really have laboratory, not laboratory for the conventional science experiment, but laboratory to, let's say, analyze the content of your product. What happens in Malaysia, and I think this is quite common in Southeast Asia, is that people come up with all these health products or beauty products, and they claim that their products can do certain things, you know, can do miracles. But the thing about it is you can't simply claim those kind of things without scientific support. And since schools do not really have that kind of resources and skills, so you need to be able to know where to send your products to using laboratory for scientific analysis. Okay, and then maybe you can use it to prove that your products can do certain things. I think in Malaysia, we usually call it overclaim. You know, you come up with a beauty product or health product, and then what these entrepreneurs do, they start to overclaim or, you know, claim their products to do certain things, and there's no proof in it. And of course, the last one, I would say passion. When you want to do something, you need passion. Otherwise, you will give up very quickly. As I'm doing it, no, I'm giving up. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sick of it. So you need to be able to keep on going, and that's where passion is very important. So let's say this student of ours, he came up with something he's from welding technology, one of the programs that we have at our school. So he came up with something that can help people, cyclists and bikers, to take off the motorcycle wheels, so the bicycle wheels, you know, easily. It's a very simple, I would say it's a very simple mechanical project. But then since he's from welding technology, he likes to cycle. So obviously he has understanding of what people experience when they go cycling or when they go when they are bikers, and he has the skills of welding because he's from that course. So he can weld all those metal plates to come up with his project, and he has the supplies from school. Yeah, the school. He has supplies for those metal plates and all those machines that he needs. And is he passionate about it? Yes, because he is a rider, a motorcycle rider. Okay, so these are the things that you need to look at. Otherwise, you know, you might come up with something, it's a great idea, but you don't have the resources or the skills of it. Or maybe you have the skills, but you don't really have the understanding of the situation that you are trying to venture to. So this is a teacher. So what she did was that she recycled, or they used all these containers that are not being used anymore. As you can see in this picture, there are cans, empty ice cream containers, and she used them to teach her students to measure properly, because she's from a bakery program. So as you can see, this is considered as a form of innovation. Is it a product? Not really. Is it a service? Definitely not. But what is it? It's more like a technique. So sometimes a technique can be an innovation too, in a way that it's an innovative technique. It's a new technique that you employ. Now, this is very relevant for us teachers, because we always find ways on how to teach our students. So when you come up with a project, you need to be able to highlight the novelty of your solution. All right, so that's very important, because you come up with an idea, and then when you search on Google, on Amazon, Shopee, you find so many other things that are similar to your idea, to your project, to your product, and they have the same functions. So you need to be able to highlight what is so special about your product, what's so new about it. And most important thing is, how is it different than the ones that we have in the market? Because otherwise, if it's not any different from the market, then people will just buy things from the market. Why will they buy or be interested in using your project? Okay, so that's very important, because when you come up with something, they are already, most of the time, they're already in the markets. They're already available somewhere that people can access. So you need to be able to figure out what's so different about it. Sometimes maybe because it saves the environment better. I mean, that's not that, because sometimes people will look at certain features. And then when you explain your project, since I'm an English language teacher, you need to be able to focus on certain words, like comparative adjectives. Now, my project, it works faster. It's much easier. It is actually safer. It can do it in a more efficient manner. So these adjectives help to explain your solution in a way that why is it better or why is it unique, right? So you need to be able to play with words. It's either adjectives, words that describe certain things. It's faster, it's easier, it's safer. That's why it's better. Or verbs that can indicate change. In here, I put increase, adjust, lower, so people can see what does it really do. It increases the usage it decreases the usage of water. So that's good. Okay, so people can see it when people are listening to you or reading about your product or ideas, they can tell what differences it can do. So this is one of my students. He did this, and then if you look at his poster, this is actually a innovation poster. You can see he used some of the words like support, reduce, ergonomic. That's an adjective. So you need to be able to look at all these words. And then this is one of my students. What he did here, as you can see on the slide, he's actually comparing his project, the project from his program, with what's in the market. And of course, when you do that, you need to also highlight, you can talk about what's weak, the limitation of your project, but you also need to, the most important thing is you need to highlight why your project is better than the market, the conventional one and the innovation that you have done. Okay, is it easier to use? It takes less time, it's cheaper, it's easier to maintain. So you need to keep in mind of these adjectives and verbs. And most important thing is that when you come up with an ideas, especially for our students, that we need to train them to think, to be aspiring entrepreneurs. So they need to be able to figure out the commercial potential of their project, who is going to buy it, how are they going to market it. So let's say some of these students here, as you can see here, I'm just showing the poster. So in this poster, they put commercialization potential. Okay, so you need to be able to highlight what's so commercial about it. Okay, sometimes in Borneo, since we are in Borneo, we are Malaysia, yes, but we are in Malaysian Borneo. So there are certain fruits that grow only in Borneo. So what my students love to do is that they like to come up with these food products that are based on fruits or vegetables that are endemic or native to Borneo. So in that way, they are able to highlight not just the novelty of their product, but also the commercial potential of it, because since it is just available in Borneo, so it might increase it might make it more, it might have less competition in the markets. Commercialization potential. So I'm going to really fast because I need to give some time to my students to present to. So objective, you need to have an objective. You have the problem, you have a solution. How are these going to be linked? It's to your objective. Your objective, basically your solution needs to solve your problem, because sometimes what happens, you have this really amazing problem and you have this amazing solution, but then they are not exactly related. Okay, so that's why you need an objective. So the objective, or sometimes in research, we call it research questions, it can guide you in developing your ideas. So as you can see here, my students from electrical technology, so he put it there, the problem, and then he talked about the solution, and then he allocated a certain part on objective. Okay, what is the objective? Because people were like, okay, you have these ideas, it's very good, but what does it really do? Why are you doing it? So, so that's where the objective comes in. Now, why you are doing it? So calculation too, I'm sorry. So evaluation, obviously, whenever you come up with ideas, you need to start, you need to be able to test your ideas, how well do they work? So there are lots of evaluation techniques. Basically, they are instruments, research instruments. So most of our students, they like to do this kind of technique, which is pretty much straightforward. Checklist observation. You try the project, and then you tick it on a checklist whether it works well, okay, or whether if it doesn't work well, so you cross it. So it's a very typical method that they like to do. It's a bit superficial, but at least you do have the data. And then they like to do survey, obviously, with Likert scale, number 1 until number 5. 1 strongly disagree, number 5 strongly agree. But then a few of my students, they were able to do experiment. They compare between, they did repeated experiment. They did it on the first trial, and then they did it on the second time. And then whenever they compare their products, they compared on 2 different types of subjects. In this case, they were experimenting on flour, and then they were trying the flour on 2 different types of cookies, not just one cookies, to see the effects of the flour. Okay, so you need to be able to pitch your idea. So this is very important. When people ask you what's your idea, you need to be able to explain them in 30 seconds or in a minute or in 30 seconds. Okay, if you can't explain your idea in 30 seconds, that means there is a problem where you yourself might not be very clear of what you are trying to talk about. And there's a business model canvas. So we usually teach this at our school for vocational colleges in Malaysia. And for entrepreneurship, when it comes to entrepreneurship, we are still focusing on certain things, but we use different terms. Like we don't use target group, we use target customers. And then we talk about strategies, how to market our product. And then there are certain things that we need to look at when it comes to entrepreneurship. Cost and profit, how much does it cost? How much profit can you make? And then revenue stream, how are you going to make money? So these are certain things that we need to be aware of when we are moving to the next stage or to entrepreneurship area. And there's a hackathon. Hackathon is now I know in Southeast Asia, most Malaysians and Southeast Asia, they take part in a lot of innovation contests, but hackathon it's very different because it takes several days to do it. There's a workshop, there's a mentoring, and then in the end of the day, you pitch your project. Now, with hackathon, I know currently there is a hackathon organized by Safe Water that is based in the Philippines, and we are planning to take part in that. So as you can see here, we did a virtual hackathon. There's a mentoring session. The trainer, she's from the United States, so we had to do it on Zoom. And then there were courses that we have to attend for almost a week. And then in the end, as you can see in this picture, we have to pitch our project. Okay, we need to do a short video to pitch the project. And also there's a grant application. So when we have an idea, we would like to apply for grant. A grant, we can apply for grant for an ongoing project, a project that we have already started, or a proposal. That means we haven't done the project, but it's okay, it's a proposal. So when you apply for a grant, it can be a research, it can be for a product that you are developing, it can be for activities, or it can be for organizing an event, like when you organize webinar, like the webinar that we are now. Now, SEAMEO has a lot of grant opportunities, particularly Indonesian SEAMEO. So as you can see here, there's a grant for YSEALI. We won about USD 45. I know it's not USD 45. It's ringgit Malay. It's USD 11,000. It's about 45 ringgit in Malaysia. Now look for YSEALI grant because YSEALI it's from the United States. It's through the US embassies. And it's specifically meant for Southeast Asia. So we all are eligible to apply for YSEALI. Of course, SEAMEO, like what I said, again, the Indonesian SEAMEOs, they are very generous. They always give away grants. Paper publication, of course, whenever you have an idea or a project, you can always consider paper publication. They might not be that relevant to our students, but they are very relevant to us teachers to publish papers. So we have this, we always do this kind of activities at our school. So the idea is that we always need to come up with, whenever our students or our teachers have some ideas, remember there are 3 main platforms that you can do. You can go for research, you can go for research conference, innovation contest, or entrepreneurship program. They are very related. And there are also certain things like hackathons, and then you can consider applying for grants. So that's my topic. I'm going to move to my next students. So I'm just like going to check whether she's available right now. So this is a presentation, Zato. So I'm going to just like, can I mute? Okay, I can mute myself.
Thank you very much,
okay.
Dr. Hawan. Can you hear me?
Yes. So we are moving to, because I have all the slides, so I'll just move to
the next presenter.
Yeah, next presenter. Okay, but
Okay.
it's going to be
Good.
Ryan Derrick first, and then we will. I'm sorry. So it's going to be Ryan Derrick. So yeah, I would like to present you my students, Ryan Derrick from electrical technology. So Ryan, are you here? Hello.
Hello.
Ryan. Yeah. Okay. So you can start speaking now.
Hello. Thanks, Dr. Sihajran. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys doing great. My name is Ryan Derrick. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be one of the representatives from Malaysia. So today I'm going to talk about alert plumbing system, a new method for increasing the level of efficiency to maintain the piping system. So let's get started. So basically, Arduino is one open source electronic platform based on easy to use hardware and software. For Arduino boards, it's able to read out inputs such as light on a sensor, a finger, or a Twitter message. Use as an output to activate a motor, turning on an LED, publishing something online, for example, online or offline apps. You can tell your board what to do by sending a set of instruction to the microcontroller on the board. So next, in this research, we will try to help the residents of multi-story buildings such as townhouse, flat services apartment, and any buildings that have multiple stories. Besides, it involves a strategic combination of ESP8266 and Blink app. We choose this app because it is easier and faster than the other apps that we tried. ESP8266 is considered consistent with the common usage of smartphone. Next. Our aim is to facilitate the maintenance of plumbing system in residential area. At the same time, we also want to make sure that the residents of multi-story buildings learn to adopt automatically operated system. For that, they don't need to check their plumbing system whether it is in a good condition or vice versa. Next, we also want to prevent unwanted accident at home, especially for the senior citizens, because we don't want anything bad happen to them. For the problem statement, residents in buildings consist of multiple stories, often have to deal with a lot of problems related to internal system like plumbing. We found out that most plumbing system inside this building is prone to water leakage. Moreover, such incident can cause damage to the entire house due to water seeping into walls, floors, and ceiling. For example, if there is a leakage on the top of the block, and it can also cause damage to the entire lower house. Next, most kitchens in Malaysia are equipped with similar design of plumbing system. It's neat and tidy, but at the same time, it is very hard to detect any leakage. Lastly, procrastination to repair water leakage is common among many households, and in this is very bad habit. So for the methodology, we use a lot of methods to collect our data. First of all, some of our friends live in a multi-story building, and we requested their permission to allow us study this problem at their homes. We also visited other sites and talked to the residents who live in this type of building. In addition, we often use social media to help us with our research. Let's move to the next slide. for the Arduino Esp8266, the main component that we need is this one, this Arduino Esp8266. It is a self-contained SoC with integrated TCP/IP protocol stack. It enables any microcontroller to access your Wi-Fi network. COC stand for System on Chips Microcontroller, and TCP/IP stand for Transmission Control Protocol, or Internet Protocol, which can be used in a private computer network. So basically, it only works when there is connection with any network services. For the next slide, it is water detector. Next, we must have water detector. This is an electronic device. It is able to detect any presence of water in target spot, prone to be affected by water leakage. We use this component because it will notify owner of the house upon detection of any water leakage. For the last component, doorbell, a signaling device typically placed inside the living room. It is the base due to a loud ringing sound as its alert mechanism that it can produce. Next. Okay, let me show you how it works. These are the easy steps of how it works. First, when there is a water leakage on our plumbing system, alarm will go off and the Esp8266 will directly send a notification to the owner's smartphone. This enables the owner to be aware of such problem, and some necessary action need to be taken in order to fix the leakage. It is very important for our house to be free of any leakage problem. This project notifies you on any leakage that it detects regardless where you are. Next slide. So this is the project demonstration. Okay.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Okay, thank you so much. That was an amazing presentation. So yeah, we are going to move to the last presentation, which will be done by other student of mine. So I'm just trying to.
Thank you very much, Ryan, for your good presentation.
So we have the last presentation. Okay, we'll do it very quickly.
The last presenter from.
Okay, Nazatul. Nazatul, are you here?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Do you think you can start now?
Aduh, lain.
Okay, yeah, Nazatul, we can hear you.
Yes, Nazatul, you can start now, please.
Welcome on board.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Please start.
Aduh, lain. Okay. Hello. Is Nizam Patel coming back? Oh, this also in chat and most students is special.
Excuse me, Nisato, we cannot hear you. Maybe there's some internet problem.
Just wait a sec. So hello, so that's my students, but apparently he has difficulty, so I'll just cover it for her. So this is the project that she did.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just cover it for her. So I'm just like trying to move this one. Okay. So she and her team, they came up with a project. It's called STEAM. STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics, and Arts. So we are usually familiar with STEM, but STEAM is the same approach with the addition of arts. Most of the time, we feel like for vocational students, they have amazing skills, but it's just that they have their projects, they tend to be very mechanical. There's less or no use of technology. And we are living in the world where people are expecting, automatic technology, automated, industrial evolution of 4.0. So they need to be able to adapt and thrive in such environment. So that's why he and his team members, she and her team members came up with this project for TVET and for rural communities, because in our place it's categorized as rural communities. So the goal of the TVET is at the STEM is actually to teach the students on entrepreneurship. So it's entrepreneurship. It involves arts, right? When you are the art of communication, the art of persuasion, the art of empathy, where you need to empathize of the people that you are trying to help. And also it's the pitching itself, the presentation that you do in order to convince people in your products. So that's an art. So that's why we believe art is an important part of STEAM. And we also, well, obviously the most obvious, when people think of STEM, they will think about drones and robots. Now, we are not teaching our students to build drones or robots, but it's about to make them feel familiar with this kind of technology and how they can actually integrate this technology into what they do. Let's say they do some sort of food business. Let's say they do food business. So you can send your food with drones to your customers. So that's another way of integrating technology into what you do. I mean, obviously, when you, like, most of our students, they come from hospitality departments, so they usually come up with food. And what happened is that they usually don't integrate technology into what they eat. Obviously, we don't put technology into what we do, into food, but you can integrate it into your service. And we also have 3D printing. It's a form of art. So this is very relevant to students of engineering backgrounds, especially construction background. When you want to build something nowadays, there are technologies where people can build houses and build anything out of 3D printing. So they have to adapt to that. And how are they going to stay relevant and integrate that kind of technology into what they do? So it's not something about that cause them to lose their job, but it's something that will enhance their performance. And we empower women. When it comes to STEM, we understand that it is a male-dominated field, and we would like to have more women in this kind of field. So one of the target of the project is to empower women, is to include more women. And when you look at this picture, these were students with special needs. So we felt like, other than empowering women, it's also important to empower one of the most marginalized community in our society. And those are students, people, individuals with disabilities, individuals with special needs. So as you can see here, these students, they communicate in sign language, and we don't want them to stay excluded. We want to include them. So that's one of the goals of the project, because at our school, we have students with special needs. Okay, students of special needs, they cannot really adapt well in mainstream education. So many of them, they go for vocational schools. But then it makes us wonder, how are we going to cater to their needs? Or, since they are special education students, because we need to integrate them into the mainstream society, into the along with other students. We can't leave them remain excluded. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. So that's all from us. That's all from us, actually. Thank you so much. Mr. Sarwan, and as well as SEAMEO TED for giving us this opportunity. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen right now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Surhawan, and your student with a very great presentation and very good sharing from your topic. It's like so helpful for TVET student, for STEM student. So I really appreciate your team, strong commitment, and very informative knowledge will be applicable to our education, to the regional education. You have very good student, 2 students who have shared a lot about Arduino board, Arduino ESP water detector, and also another student, sorry that she cannot present, but you can have her to present. It's very interesting, and especially I know you have proposed this technology for helping the special need student. Ladies and gentlemen, from the floor, if you have any question to the speaker, please kindly let us know. We will try, our speaker will answer, or if you have any comment, please. Dr. Surhawan.
Yeah, that's me.
Anything else you want to add, or? I just note that you have 10 projects present at STEM conference, right?
Yes. So since we are SEAMEO organization, SEAMEO TED, there are lots of conferences organized or activities organized by SEAMEO too. Like what I've said before, I think Indonesian SEAMEO, they are the most generous one. So I think that conference in Indonesian conference, it's either organized or co-organized by SEAMEO. Yeah.
So maybe in the future you will be taking part in our
conference
program.
Yeah.
If it is applicable with our partner in China, there is a skill competition.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Miss Echo is also here.
yeah, she's here. Could see her.
Yeah.
Very appreciate to your team. What about the ELS chef? Do you have any? Do you have some more explanation? I know ELF chef from your presentation. What is ELF chef?
What's that again? I'm sorry. It's how is it spelled?
ELF chef.
EIF. I'm like looking at the PowerPoint. Sorry. So which part of that?
Yes.
Self. Is it
maybe I note something wrong or
it's okay. Just is it Wisely? Are you talking about Wisely? I'm not so sure.
Okay. However, anyway, because we want to hear from your student, Mr. Lee Satul. Can she speak out the last minute for her own word, Miss Nisatul, can you speak? Can you say something? No?
I think I'm not sure whether she's
okay.
Okay, yeah.
So progress 2 presentation, progress 2 school presentation, it is our good step, good moving that our school network has shared with the other school in the region. Our network has expanded more and more, and today is our pleasure we can organize the first webinar. Even there is some technical issue, technical problem occurring during the startup of the webinar. We are so sorry that we cannot control this, and we will promise next webinar will be smoothly working. And we want to hear from the other participants. If you have any question, please kindly let the speaker know. But if you don't have, we will proceed to the closing ceremony with our director. Okay, maybe no. Ladies and gentlemen, so let's move to the wrap-up session today. We have two schools who has shared this webinar. Just for your kind information again, the first school is GLAN School of Art and Trade, Philippines, and the second school is Keningau Vocational College from Malaysia. The first school, they present about the getting start of OBS Studio NDI integration into OBS and live streaming with Zoom and other platform, video editor, and live artists. With our great speaker from Philippines, Mr. Brian Baris Kudro, and another speaker, Mr. Rolando Sabroso. We have learned a lot about OBS, about Adobe Photoshop. Even it is very short time, but however, I think IT learner can understand, can get some idea. And also another speaker from Malaysia, Dr. Serhatwan Idek, and his student, Miss Nisatul Faslin, and another student, Mr. Rian Detrick. And great, today we have participation from SEAMEO Secretariat Director, Dr. Etel, and also our partner from Co-Study. Let's move to the next session closing by Dr. Ai Song Hing. Dr. Ai Song Hing is Director of SEAMEO TED. He will come to join us and close the webinar. Dr. Ai Song Hing, please, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, director, school principal, teacher, partners, and students. Now we arrive at the end of our today's course, but not at the end of our network activity. I would like to thank for the wonderful presenters, moderators, participants for being patient here with us. and to prosper together regionally through this program. Special thanks were given to Rolando Sabroso and Brian Bariscutro from GLAN School of Art and Trade, the Philippines, and Dr. Siahaswan Idek, Nezatul Falien Zenal, and Ryan Derrick from Keningau Vocational College for fruitful presentation. I would like to take this opportunity to convey my deep appreciation to the above mentioned school management, instructors, and facilitators for your effort and time spent for rigorously coordinating and supporting this webinar. Your facilitation and support plays a key catalyst in motivating your teachers and students to share their best practices proficiently and diligently. This is one of our network achievements. We will have more online training programs, online workshop, online school visit, and research project for our members. After the pandemic, we plan to have some face-to-face activities together in the near future. As you know, Asian community has a combined population of 671 million, with a projection to million by 2050. However, vocational education enrollment is still low in our region. To raise up this, our school management, instructors, private sectors, and stakeholders should play a proactive role to enhance TVET recognition and appreciation to our students. I hope that today we learn a lot from two topics: getting started of OBS Studio, NDI integration into OBS, and live streaming with Zoom or other platform, video editor, layout artist, and energizing TVET community with strategy and opportunity in research innovation. These two topics meet the need of IR 4.0 and technological innovation in our one of the Asian priority for skill development to raise up the quality and relevance of training program to meet the need of the labor market. And investment in human capital is disruptive in the Asian region to boost economic growth. Today's training module will be useful for your application at your instructional work setting and share that knowledge to your college, peer, and student and social learning. Finally, I wish you all stay safe and healthy from the pandemic. I would like to close the webinar from now. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ai Song Hian, SEAMEO TED Director, for your motivative closing remark for our speaker, presenter, also the school and for your information. Also, I would like to inform to the participant for the last, please don't forget to fill the evaluation form in order to get certificate. We offer the link
in the chat room. Please don't forget. And last but not least, thank you very much for all participants who have paid attention and time to join us in this first webinar. We will organize the next webinar on 17 March, but we will inform the network soon. And we still open receiving the topic from the school network member. Until now, we have about 20 topics already proposed by our school network member from Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia. So we still wait for other school from our SEAMEO member country, from our network, for our good sharing in the family. This is the first webinar, and I would like to announce the webinar come to the end. Thank you very much for your patience, your attention, and your participation. Please don't forget to fill the, we can get, you can get the certificate after the webinar. Thank you very much. The last, I would like to take pictures, group pictures. So please open the video so that we can take picture together. Thank you.
Please turn on your camera. Turn on all your camera. Group photo finally.
One more.
One more.
1, 2,
1, 2, 3.
Smile up.
Smile up.
Okay.
Okay.
Another
1, 2, 3.
Smile up.
Smile up, please.
One more. Okay. So those who did not fill the evaluation form, you can stay in the Zoom, and then you can fill it until we get it. And thank you very much for your participation again. Sorry for any unintentional and technical problem occurring during the webinar. Bye bye.
Thank you, Lục Hiền.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you, Dr. Sir Havan and your team.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brian, Mr. Rolando, and all school management for your contribution in this webinar. Also, thank you for the other school member who nominate your teacher to join this first webinar. We will move to the next webinar at the late this month.
Thank you for the sharing. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bọn SEAMEO xong thì mọi người đây này.
Chọn này. Lạc môn. Đây. Tôi đọc sai đi rồi. Bài tập lệ mà một tập lệ đang bia dương từ sửa on cái gì dương training dương ai còn mưa trong YouTube hoặc Facebook không và còn ta còn mưa này dương lệ tiết đôi khi bị chọn lại cái gì rồi chọn rồi còn mưa trong Facebook nói gì không join rồi các bạn đến join với nông tú lệ to một thằng thì đó nông nút như mention bạn học là hồ thì bạn tăng thì chọn speaker thì
hàng là mở hàng này là anh school of art and trade đó. Trong group này we have to access the link trong group network.